We are sliding toward a multiplayer nuclear war if we're not careful. And some are saying it's a certainty. In fact, the North Koreans have just developed a brand new drone, a underseas drone that is capable of creating tsunamis, a tsunami drone. Yes, underwater. And North Korea is also saying it's not a matter of will there be a nuclear war on the Korean Peninsula. It's a matter of who starts it. That's how they see it. So, guys, we're heading into dangerous territory. Not only that, but Russia has upped the ante, and so is the United States, apparently seeming to be willing to do the same, because Russia has just bombed the heck out of the Danube grain ports on the Danube River, right there. Here's the Danube bank where they're right on the bank bombing Ukrainian cities, but just right across the river is Romania, and Romania is just sitting there watching it. And on top, it's quite possible that some of those missiles would overstrike into Romania. They're taking a big risk in them. Not only that, Russia's also just tried to intercept a Turkish grain ship or some kind of Turkish freighter in Bulgarian waters. Now, Turkey is a member of NATO, and so is Bulgaria. And then to up the ante a little bit more, Washington, the Biden administration, is actually talking about having military, NATO military, U.S. military assist Ukraine in getting their grain through the Danube. So we're probably setting ourselves up to be targets. So, guys, is it really worth all this? And it's more than that. China, because of the economic malaise, may be more inclined to start a war because Xi Jinping's in trouble. He may want to unify his country behind a war, or at least use a war to grab some more power domestically. So, guys, we're heading into some very uncharted waters here, some very uncertain territories. Somehow, though, if we can manage just to keep things patting down and a little bit short of nuclear war, we might get through it all. But it's going to be a big challenge, guys. This is why I come here to bring you this news, to keep your eyes wide open, your head on a swivel, because if you're not prepping, you need to be. All right, guys. So let's look at some of these articles I'm going to share tonight. We'll go straight into them, and then I'll go into the chat session. Here we are. North Korea underwater drone points to regime's evolving nuclear weapons doctrine, according to experts. And so they now have, as believed, 2 underwater drones, maybe more. Who knows? We're not over there. We don't have the kind of intel into North Korea that we've had into Russia and some of these other places in the past, because it's a hermit kingdom. It's a closed society. It's hard to know what they're doing. But we do know that they're building nukes hand over fist. They're building a lot of them. They built the largest intercontinental ballistic missile that anyone has, even bigger than the Sarmat 2. Is it as capable as the Sarmat 2? You tell me. I don't know. They have the biggest one, though. Holy smoke, guys. Why they make the biggest Sarmat missile? It's not to use on the Korean, the biggest ICBM, not Sarmat. It's not to use on the Korean Peninsula. Let me just give you a hint, guys. And these drones may not be either, because what they're talking about hitting is port cities. Yeah, naval ports, shipping ports, like off our coastline, perhaps. Nuclear radioactive tsunamis. So Russia started this, and now North Korea is in on it too. They don't want to be left behind. Guys, this is getting clearly very dangerous. So let me show you an article here. This is RT. Nuclear war is inevitable. Again, according to North Korea, inevitable. And so you got this North Korean Defense Minister, General Kang Sung-nam. He was warned of this just yesterday. Well, I guess now, since it's Thursday, it's the day before yesterday, but it would have been yesterday when I started this. All right, guys. So so what he said is that now the question is not if nuclear war breaks out on the Korean Peninsula, but who starts it and when. Who starts it when? Guys, this is, he's blaming, the United States for putting, more of our stuff out there. We're putting stuff out there because South Korea wanted to build their own nuke. They said, the heck with this. We'll just make our own nuke. And that's why we're putting stuff out there, is to try to deter South Korea from making a nuke. They're so concerned with all the nukes that North Korea's built that they want their own. So we're saying, no, calm down. Don't build your own. We'll bring some of ours into the area. And, of course, that's got North Korea all up in hackles. So, how do you get out of this situation, guys? It's a conundrum. And it's not a pretty picture, but North Korea is extremely paranoid. So, and in fact, they're paranoid in part by design, because the way they keep control over all their people and keep them living in abject poverty while the government builds spacecraft and builds all these nuclear missiles and spends all its money on the military, is through fear that the United States is going to invade. But you know what? You tell a story enough, whether you started it out to be a truth or not, eventually you start to believe it. It's like the old story in the Bible of Joseph's brothers who sold him into slavery and told Dad, Abraham, that hey, the lions ate him. When they actually saw him in person, they were astonished because they got it in their head that the lions ate him. At least that's what the book says, as far as I can understand it. But I'm no pastor, so don't quote me on it. But guys, people start believing what they say. Once you say it enough, it's hypnotic. Same principle our news media uses to say the same junk to us over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It's hypnotic. So anyway, guys, that's why it's risky. And you got a cult of personality country there led by a leader who's somewhat less than the most stable person in the world. And if he should pass away, you know, we'll be blessed by having his sweet young sister take over the helm. And we know how she is. She's scarier than anything you can imagine. But anyway, guys, so this is what we're talking about. And Chinese economy is in a tough shape. That doesn't mean there won't be a challenge to us, but it does mean there's a lot of unrest at home. And China, being a communist party type country, they fear their own people more than they fear anybody else, because that's why they have a bigger security force internally than they have a defense force externally. It's because they know they're one party system, and they know they got flaws, and they know in the end that the people are getting restless, and they are right now, because there's something they're reporting over there. The youth unemployment rate is something on the order. I'm going to start the chat session where saying what people are doing over here. But I'm just keep talking until I get through the articles for the people who are watching later. So, guys, the thing is that with the economy being where it is, the youth being where it is, they say there's like 19.7%. This is the Chinese numbers, youth unemployment. But other figures are saying it's 46 to over 50%. That's what some other figures are saying with the youth over there in China. So when you get that many, a lot of them are going home and living. They're saying we're professional children. We're going home to live with mom and dad because they went to college, and there's just not the kind of jobs for them. Because, among other things, the Chinese economy is tanking over the real estate boondoggles they've been involved in, which they use to, kind of cook the cooks, a big Ponzi scheme to jumpstart their economy, but it's played out. Of course, China could go kind of like it could go Spartan, like North Korea. But what they need is a really good fear of somebody else or a war, because seldom the countries change leadership in the middle of a war. And who knows, maybe our current administration would like to have a war also for the same reasons. How come I'm not pulling up the chat room? Okay, here we go. Let me try that again. Anyway, guys, so this is the kind of stuff we're looking at. We are looking at huge challenges. And hey, I see we got Jason in the house. Very good. All right, we got people chiming in real quick. We got 110. That's really good. All right, let me get back to it here. So, guys, this is serious. And not only that, but, oh, yeah. Hey, you got a war coming along, get your health up to par before everything hits the fan. That's why I like the C60 stuff, guys. As you know, C60 Purple Power. If you go to shopc60.com, and use the code GreenGregs10, you'll get 10% off. So check that out while you can. I think it's a good deal. But Shop C60, I'm going to have one myself. I usually save these for the live video. That's the little gummies or tart. Well, it's a cherry, tart cherry. But they also have a lot of other stuff. As you can see here, the avocado oil, coconut oil. I like coconut oil. And they got cinnamon. That's the last thing I'm going to eat till probably about 2 or 3 o'clock on Friday. I'm going to fast tomorrow. Here we are, guys. Russia's top general, Sergei Shoigu, bragged the Kremlin's war in Ukraine has debunked Many myths about NATO's weapons and military standards being superior. And in a way, he's got a point. Our weapons are good. Our weapons are second to none as long as they have GPS working for them. But when that GPS gets jammed, they're not so good, not so great. Most of our weapon systems are totally reliant on GPS. It's jammable. Not only that, satellites could be taken out if the war moves into space, which would be most unfortunate. But we have a couple of weak links in our single most powerful asset, our GPS. Also, the data fusion that our military uses, our military communications, and Russia's been successfully jamming these in the battlefield. I was really surprised it took them so long to do it, because I remember reading of all their jamming hardware and equipment. But Russia's got bad logistics. It took them a while to get it all set up, apparently. But now it's operating, and a lot of our weapons are not performing to par because of that. And I always thought that was our weak link, and we never should have been entirely reliant on it. We should have used more traditional inertia navigation systems and blended solutions with GPS, so we wouldn't be entirely dependent on GPS. The earlier cruise missiles used land navigation techniques. They had maps. When I was working on the F-15 program, the flight computer had maps that it could look at. I guess it still does, but this was part of the navigation system that you work with. I worked with a navigation system on the F-15 for a little while, so that was an interesting thing, how they had all that integrated back in the day. Like I said, this is what's happening. This is from a Greek newspaper. I don't know where else you're going to find this stuff. You don't seem to find this in domestic newspapers. So, I searched wide to find the articles for you guys. RT was, over on the Ruski side, and I got to be careful putting those articles up here, because apparently this platform has started banning channels that show that news source. So I got to be real careful with that. Anyway, Danube on fire. Night of terror for Romanians, terrified as they watch. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. They keep hitting this again and again. And that's part of what's driving up the price of grain, guys. That is driving up. Russia hits Ukrainian grain depots again. Now, this was actually like the day before. This is a little bit older article. So they just keep hitting it again and again and again. Yeah, so Russian Black Sea Fleet intrudes Bulgarian waters and harasses Turkish grain freighter. I'm not kidding you. See, Turkish grain freighter. Turkey's a NATO member. Bulgaria is a NATO member. So Russia's getting more aggressive going after shutting down Ukrainian grain. But along those lines, America says, oh, we'll take care of it. We're not ruling out military solutions to ensure Ukraine can export grain. This is where we're getting slippier, closer and closer to potential conflict. Hey, I got a couple super chats. Wow, let's see what we gave us some super chats. Michelle, salute. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. You and the mods are awesome. Thank you there. I appreciate it, Michelle. And the naughty heathen. Hey, all right. I won't even say that out loud. But you got me laughing there, naughty heathen. Yeah, he's been attacking me constantly, claiming that I took his wrench and hit it from the channel. I actually never did. I said I may, because I said I may after he really ragged my channel on his network. But anyway, so he jumps conclusions, it seems. If he comes in here, I'll probably have to take it, because he'll go on attack mode, being his normal self. Anyway, U.S. not ruling out military solutions. So there you are, guys. What do y'all think about this? What do you think about this? All righty. Hey, I like a naughty heathen. What can you say? All right, Warrior Maven here. U.S. Ford. Now, this just shows that we're backing up or getting able to back up that capability that last article refers to. Our largest brand new aircraft carrier is gone into the Mediterranean, and it's got its aircraft apparently in reach of the Black Sea. Is this connected? Why did we steam this aircraft carrier straight into the Mediterranean instead of over into the Pacific, which I think is a bigger threat to us near China? No, it goes to the Mediterranean, guys. So this may be a sign of things to come. This might be a sign that indeed they're getting ready to have military options, solutions to help the Ukrainians get their grain out. And what they're talking about is an alternate route. They're talking about Danube, but we can see that that's already under attack. It's been under continuing withering attack from Russia. And Russia's already veered into NATO waters, harassing a NATO ship. 2 different NATO nations were on the other side of that. So I don't know, guys. I'm not taking sides here. I'm just telling you what's cooking here. Unlike some other channels, I'm trying to stay out of the side-taking business. This is just what's cooking. And why it matters is it could drag our country into a major war, which could go nuclear. Anyway, now here's what one respondent has claimed. This is a journalist or somebody over here with us, a lieutenant colonel, Stuart Crawford. He has claimed that Putin's Russia would be kicked back to Moscow if the West had guts to really help Ukraine. I mean, get into it. Well, somebody was mentioned by a certain super chat a minute ago on a video. I probably would have disassociated him with it on this basis alone. He actually, on a video, called for Western nations to fire missiles into Moscow, leveling all the palaces and other buildings, governmental, I suppose, in Moscow. That seems to me to definitely cross the threshold of their existential threat level that would trigger nuclear war, strategic nuclear war. I think if that happened, all bets are off. I'm not thinking that's such a good idea. If you think that that's what America needs to do, if you see that's what, like I said, somebody called for in a video on here on YouTube, which I'm surprised that YouTube didn't react to that. I heard they may have pulled that video down. I don't know. But somebody mentioned in the chat just a minute ago, actually called for that. Now, if y'all think this is a good idea, that the United States and NATO ought to go in there and kick Moscow, put a 1 in the chat. Chat, type a 1. Let's see if you support that. Me, I'm not there. I'll just have to tell you, I'm not there. 2, if you don't agree. 1, if you think that the United States should go kick Moscow, type a 1. If you don't agree, type a 2. Anyway, yeah, I hear you, Michelle. I'm not there. Self-contained war machines like the USS Ford got surprises. Oh, they do. It does. Hey, we got down under in the house, Bob Zickick. Hey, Bob, good to see you from down under. Yes, so you're in Australia or New Zealand, I forget. Anyway, somewhere down there. Well, we'll look at the weather down there before the night's over here. Anyway, guys, hey, I'm going to show you a snow line too that jumped a sheep and fell 400 feet and got up and walked away from it. Guys, well, let's see. This guy don't think it's a good idea. Robert Kennedy Jr. Nuclear war warning says NATO could be destroyed by Putin. Indeed, if they use their strategic missiles, absolutely. That's where they got a strength. All right, 2, 2, 2, 2, 8. Number one hero says 8. I don't see any 1s. We got a 0. We got some 0s. What's 0 mean? No opinion? I guess it's not a 1 anyway. Absolutely not. Banana Republic of America has no business spreading. I don't know why we're even over there. That should be complete failure of diplomacy. Yes, we have a complete failure of diplomacy. I agree, Jason. I don't prep for nuclear war. 1, you're the blast area and you're dead. 2, you're know the blast in your area. Get away from it. All right, guys. Yeah, I don't see a lot of support for this position here. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, guys, look here. Russian oil fields have been burning. There are casualties. Was this an accident because they got less people running, or was it an attack? I'm kind of thinking they had an attack over there. Ukraine's war of attrition draws parallels with World War I. Guys, this is a trench warfare. It's a slugfest. It's ugly. But one of the things this guy points out is that, I think it's him, might have been another writer, said that Putin's protection of the Donbass, because they're Russian speaking, is a lot like Germany going into Czechoslovakian areas that were German speaking. That there's a lot of analogies between what Hitler did and what Putin's doing. Now, I believe in a right of self-determination. I'll be honest. If the people in Donbass want to be Russian, then let them. But if the people in Ukraine don't want to be Russian, don't make them. Let people determine who they want to be. But, militaries tend to have their own mind about things, and countries and so-called leaders, and everybody's trying to take something they ought not take. That's what I think. Both sides are guilty of that. Both sides, in my humble opinion. But I think it's a European problem. Why are we involved in it? Cooking dinner? Wow, JoJo. Cooking dinner at almost 2 a.m. You're worse than I am. All right. Staying up so late, doing crazy stuff. Anyway, Ukraine situation report. A spring counteroffensive may be needed. Didn't they just have what was supposed to be a spring counteroffensive that's just struggling? That's what they're saying here, is that the last one petered out. And so they may need another one this spring. But in a war of attrition, like you would get with World War I, Ukraine's got limited time. They may get all the weapons in the world from the West, but they only got so many people. And Russia may be having a hard time getting people on the line, but Russia's got a bigger population base to draw from, bigger industrial base, and just like Ukraine's getting weapons from the West, which the West is getting tired of sending over. There's a lot of Republican opposition to this, and so it might peter out. But Russia's getting weapons from North Korea, Iran, and other places. So Russia's got other places to draw from and getting weapons. So, and they got more factories than Ukraine. Plus, they've really blown up a lot of Ukrainian factories. So, Ukraine hints out that giving Putin land in return for NATO membership is a no-go. So, one of the NATO leaders came out and says, "Hey, maybe Ukraine should give up some land, like the Donbass area, and in exchange for peace." And Vladimir Zelensky reacted very angrily with that. So, as you can imagine, but hey, he may have to in time. If the people there want to be Russian, then let them. Is there a plan for Ukraine to pay us back? Well, we're not going to get paid back, not either. I mean, if anybody believes that we're going to get paid back, put a 1 in the chat room now. Birds, Alaska military air traffic has been interesting here lately. I don't doubt that. Just about to start dinner. All right, Fazioli. Where are you at, Fazioli? Let's see. This article don't want to open. That's probably because it's got too many ads in. I got an ad blocker running right now. All righty. Chinese and Russian warships step up activity around Japan. You see, China and Russia are working together. And they have both fought Japan in the past. Japan and in fact, we bought Alaska from Russia so Russia could have money to fight Japan back in the 1860s. So there's a long history of Russia and Japan fighting each other, and China and Japan fighting each other. And the Chinese, they're a little bit fearful of Japan, because Japan, went in and invaded a lot of China. And back in the day, the Chinese weren't so meek and mild as they are today. So things were a little too interesting for them, but they're still holding a grudge on this. And holding grudges are most unfortunate. Hey, Chewy Weather, good to see you in the house. All right, so guys, but right now, probably our main ally in that part of the world, the only other nation that's got a true blue water navy outside of Russia, is Japan. And so Japan is a strong ally should things go down there. And Japan is at risk. I mean, if Taiwan gets taken, Japan gets cut off from trade. Japan's going to be in a dire strait, and they know it. That's why Japan started stepping up. It will probably be big. China's got drawn maps of Japan as a subjugated nation, and Japanese know it. They know if they can't get their trade through that strait, their days are over. So that's why Taiwan is so critical to them. Hey, Samuel Turner, throughout history, nations that are ruled by strongmen or tyrants have traditionally started wars to unify their people against a common foe and take their minds off domestic issues. Amen. That is a very common modus operandi. Very, 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 very common. And so this definitely plays in the interest of Xi Jinping, of Kim Jong-un. I'm getting the names up here, and also Vladimir Putin. It may even play in the interest of Mr. Biden, get his reelection cranking. So yeah, this is why we may be heading for war, guys. This is a very serious situation. Thank you, Samuel. Salute to you. All right. Amen. Boom. Today we achieve criticality by compressing the core with shaped explosives. If we manage to get the shape just right, it doesn't require as much fissionable material to make a warhead. That's true. That's what they do for miniaturization. Yeah, you're right, Arnold. Thank you. We fell in 1913. Amen to that. That was our problem. And Thomas Jefferson warned us against that. All righty. Now, we got a lot to be concerned about because our aircraft carriers are at grave risk. And I pointed out how with balloons, they could be pinpointed. And with the Dongfang 26 and the Dongfang 21 missiles, we got to get well within the range of those missiles to launch our F-35s, even with KC-135 refueling. Yeah, we still got to get well within range of those missiles. So we're counting on having the SM-6s and SM-3s and other missiles on the accompanying ships of the aircraft carrier, like the Aegis destroyers, to defend against them. But there's only so many of those missiles, and there's probably a whole lot more Dongfang 26s and 21s. So the next thing we were counting on is the mobility of our forces there to so that they wouldn't know exactly where we're at and would miss us. Well, they're going to know exactly where we're at. But that's the aircraft carriers. Well, now guess what? They found a way to track our submarines. And it's with ultra-sensitive magnetic sensors. No, they're not looking at the hulls. It's the cavitation bubbles. As a submarine moves through the water, there's just no way you can avoid having bubbles form around it. And when those bubbles pop, they implode. It releases a magnetohydrodynamic electromagnetic signal. Yeah. People have actually considered cavitation bubbles, if you could have like an ultrasonic system, as a potential way to generate fusion. Because when those bubbles actually implode, it's unbelievable. Some of those tiny bubbles implode with an enormous force, although it's on a very micro scale. Within that scale, it's enormous. And it does leave a magnetic signature. And ultra-sensitive devices can pick it up. And the Chinese figured out how to do that, apparently. So now they can check our submarines, too. Not good. Not good. They're still probably going to be stealthier than our aircraft carriers. But holy smoke, guys. Yeah, a war with China is not going to be a picnic by any means possible. Because they are still, they can far outproduce us. Even with their economy going down, for now, they can outproduce us hand over fist. And production is what wins wars. America has won every war it's won as a war of attrition by outproducing the other state that it's fighting. Well, guess what? How do you do it when the state you're fighting is China? She totally choked their industry with blockades. But that's why China is building the belts and roads. That's why China is trying to integrate with Russia. Yikes, guys. Anyway, on the other side, flip side of it, Taiwan is finally apparently let be seen their long-range cruise missile that could reach deep into China. And it's been rumored that the main target is the Three Gorges Dam. If they take out the Three Gorges Dam, it would probably take out 400 million Chinese. So that's a very, it would probably take several strikes with conventional weapons to take that dam out. Quite a few would have to get through. But that is a real risk. And maybe it will make China think and pause a little bit before they strike. But I don't think that's the dynamic that's driving Xi Jinping, because they're actually having a lot of protest against him over there. Now, this article says, hey, he's immortal. Xi Jinping's immortal, and he's not going to control China forever. And the hope there is that when he does pass away, that maybe in China, it'll be a better day. Maybe things will turn over. Maybe the CCP will be overthrown even. That would be the dream. Because China would be an enormous, great country if they had freedom on their side. They would do amazing things, and it'd be an amazing country to be to work with, because there's great people there. There's great people in every country of every race, color, creed, from every city, shire, hamlet you can name. There's good people all over the world, but people get stirred up against each other by these leaders, and of course, that hypnotic media that controls people's minds. Just like what I said earlier, that's getting the same message over and over and over and over. Yeah, it's very hypnotic. I once told a guy I could make him itch. He said, "No, you can't." I said, "Yeah, you can." I said, "No, you can't make me itch." I said, "You're itching. You're itching." I kept saying it, and he started scratching over, and he just said, "Shut up." It can happen, guys. That's the power of suggestion, and the media knows it all too well. That's why I bring that up. All righty. The economy. Let's get out of the war news. Let's talk economy for a little bit. Regional banks slide after the Fed's cash carry. Isn't that a funny name for the Federal Reserve chairman there in, what was it, Missouri or no, Minneapolis? Cash carry. I don't think pronounced it that way. Maybe not, but that's the way it's spelled. Cash carry. Wow. That's crazy for the name of a Federal Reserve president. Cash carry. But anyway, he is talking about further regulating these banks, which is going to squeeze them all the harder. And they're already having tons of trouble. Fitch warns that it may be forced to downgrade dozens of banks, including J.P. Morgan and Chase. Wow, big banks. As you know, Moody's just downgraded a bunch. So this is their credit rating. Now, the United States got downgraded, but so are banks getting downgraded, guys. And it's got a lot to do with this real estate bubble that's just bigger than anything we had in 2008, excuse me. All right, guys. Is the dollar being dethroned? India just bought 1 million barrels of oil from UAE using rupees instead of US dollars for the first time ever. So, guys, even if the BRICS countries at the core are quaking and shaking, they're changing the world in how oil is purchased, which means the dollar is losing its market share as the petrodollar, especially with the UAE has jumped in on this. Saudi Arabia is going there. And so how in the world is the dollar to remain so strong a field? Right now it's strong. The dollar just went up, but can it stay there? Given it went up just against the failures of the internal economics of China. Their yuan slipped a little bit because of their situations with the real estate and a lot of other economic malaise. See, also the trade. Global trade is down. But not only is trade down, but China is actually being penalized more too. So they're getting a double whammy on that. But still, it don't mean the end of China. It don't mean the end of the CCP. If they can excite an external or cite an external enemy to unite their people, then they could go Spartan. And that's what Xi Jinping may be more inclined to do now than ever. Hey, Jojo, thank you. Appreciate the compliment there. Clear here, Amy. Oh, what's happening? I say I've used mind control to make people laugh. There you go. That almost feels wrong. Hey, you know what? I can make cars speed up or slow down. Take it or leave it, whatever you think. Traffic. All righty, guys. Reshaping gold dynamics. BRICS currency. Yeah, see, guys, this is the BRICS currency coming out. They're having that meeting just and the 22nd to the 24th of this month. Now, like I said, gold has just dropped a little bit. It might be a good time to go in and grab some gold. If you want to do that, go to defythegrid.com, defythegrid.com, guys. They got to offer, if you find a price anywhere else, they'll meet it or beat it. It's hard to beat, guys. And if you go there, use the code GREEN, use my link to it, and then use that code GreenGregs, not Green Gregs with a number, just Green Gregs. Over at Shop C6 is Green Gregs 10, but over here it's just Green Gregs. You get 1% off. And even when I wasn't even talking about this, you guys were getting more of this stuff than you were anything else that I was promoting. It's like y'all didn't care about the stuff I was promoting. Y'all were going for this, and I can't blame you. So I decided to join with y'all on that. Because these gold backs are nifty. Those things have been selling great because it's a fungible amount of gold that you can actually walk around and trade instead of a big bar of bullion that you'd have to shave pieces off of. You can just trade these whole. I mean, this is like, this is the Wyoming gold back. So I love these things. In any event, let's move on and talk about some other news. Further economic recession. We have finally proof of recession. The number of millionaires fell, even worse than 2008. Now, you may not give a hoot about millionaires, but just tells you the depth of the trouble in the economy. There's a lot of signs that are worse than 2008. Oh, yeah, even Burger King, guys, closing 400 restaurants. Wow. You probably just can't even hire the help. Deflation should soon hit the U.S. as real estate and stock prices are at risk of crashing. So, we got BlackRock saying we're going to have huge inflation and others, but over here, these guys are saying we're going to have deflation. So which way is it going? Either way is bad. I live in Sweden, so I buy gold from Swedish outlet. Okay, very good. Food only money and beast at fighting climate change. Yeah, buy more beef. I'm going to tell you something about that here when we finish the video. When we get through this stuff, we're going to talk about buying local. Home Depot posts 4.2% sales decline. Unprecedented after falling years of unprecedented growth. It's the first time in years, guys. Why? Because people aren't spending money on home repairs. People are not building new homes, except around here. This economy here in Huntsville is booming. But outside of the area I'm in presently, country's hurting, guys. This is just a sign of the pain that our country's going through. This is a sign of the pain that you're in. Because I'm hearing that most Americans couldn't even spend $400 for an emergency. They don't have an emergency cash fund of even that. Now, what emergency these days is less than $400? Most of them are like $2,000 or more, just little things. It's crazy what it costs to do stuff now. And the BRICS Bank, well, guess what? They just issued bonds for South Africa. So the BRICS Bank is coming online and they're getting active and doing things. And what they want to do, they want to actively dethrone the dollar. So there you go. And everybody's scared of ChatGPT. Well, it's not going to take jobs. It's not going to cause mass layoffs because it's not really that good, according to this article. And, something I've been kind of alluding to, which got said by, what's his name? Mishu Kaku. I think his name, Kaku. Come on, Jason, help me out. So I really like the ability to trade with confidence that gold backs provide. That's right. It's something you can barter. And it don't matter what state it's denominated in. If for bartering purposes, you can barter with anyone. That's what's good about them. And if we have to go to an alternate economy or be forced into taking CBDC, I like the gold back. That's why I like them. Anyway, don't get too upset about ChatGPT, but guess what? They're facing bankruptcy. I'll show an article on that in a minute. The labor market will set inflation on a roller coaster. And I see here, they're talking about inflation, BlackRock. I should have put this article next to the next other one. I try to gang all these articles together. I spent a lot of time putting this board together, all these stories here, guys. But BlackRock's predicting inflation, big time inflation. As the dollar, yeah, that's the whole risk, though. As the dollar loses share as global currency, it should be inflationary. That's what I would expect, big time. But, can you have inflation and a recession, a depression at the same time? Typically, no. But we may have pieces of each, which is going to be, we're getting into the craziest times. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. China wants everyone to stop talking about terrible economy and presses pause on youth unemployment stats. So they're not even publishing stats anymore. It's so bad, they quit publishing. They don't want people talking about it. They want to hide it, just like they hid how they had a bridge that went out during the Beijing floods. Yeah, they actually put up barricades. Instead of going in and rescuing people, they put up the barricades. I mentioned this weeks ago, guys. So, they're more interested in papering things over prestige than they are in reality. Look here, the Filipinos, though, they're tired of getting bullied. 65% of Filipinos want Manila to assert territorial rights in the South China Sea through military action. Now, the Philippines can't beat China on their own. They're relying on us, apparently, for this. So, but the Filipinos are sick of being bullied, as are a lot of other countries. FBI agent, now get over in the political area here, guys. FBI agent claims Hunter Biden father received advance warning of the investigation. Oh, yeah. So does this mean the FBI is taking sides on this? No, couldn't be now, could they? What do y'all think? American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of currency first? Yeah, that is what Thomas Jefferson said. First by issue the currency, first by inflation, then by deflation. Yeah, they'll play both until they wipe out and take everything. And it looks like they got it set up to be able to do just that, just in time for them to put us in that little Klaus Schwabian world. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Eat and see bugs. Oh, yeah, they're trying to get it where you want to eat beef. And remind me to talk about that in a little bit. I didn't bring an article, but I do want to talk about it. Guys, more lockdowns in Britain. Is this coming here? So a lot of people are calling for new lockdowns in Britain over a new bug, new variant. Oh my gosh, guys, is that coming here? Is that next in our neighborhood, or at least some areas? All right, here's the snow leopard video. We're gonna get all the new stuff. This one's kind of funny. There, this leopard grabbed a sheep off the side of a mountain. They went over the edge, it fell 400 feet and walked away. That's a photo of it falling over. I'm gonna try to play it. It shouldn't be a strike for me to play, just a snippet as long as I'm talking through it. Now, let me blow this up a little bit so you can see what's happening here. This is the leopard right here jumping. And the sheep is down, well, let's see. Maybe it's backed up a little bit. The sheep is down here somewhere. I'll play, yeah, there's the sheep right there. There's the sheep. Now see, it's already, this is a little cliff right here. He's jumping across that, chasing this sheep across this edge of this mountain. These cats are tough, guys. They're tough. Watch this. These cats are unbelievably tough. Watch them. So you see him jump, going after it, and it goes right over the edge of this cliff. Boom, watch this. And he holds him the whole way. He got him and held him the whole way and then walked away unscathed. He's walking all four like, hey, just another day at the job. These guys are tough. Guys, big cats are tough. And I'm going to do a video on what to do about encountering wild animals. I'll do a special video on it. You know, I've talked about that a little bit on here before. I decided that we need a special video. Okay, now we're going to go into the weather and all that. Then we're going to just open up and have a little chat here, guys. All right, here we are, guys. Earthquakes. Oh, we got one way up north in Alaska here. Looks like close to Brooks Range. Kobuk, 2.7. There's no real big ones right here in the United States right now. There's it's down here in South Texas, Parasol, I don't know. JoJo, is that close to you? She's over there in the area somewhere. And we got one, Thomas, Oklahoma. Jason, how close is that to you? That is only a 2.6. All right, is that from oil drilling or fracking? What do you think, Jason? 2.6 in Gilroy, California. You got a fairly good size, 3.5. San Clemente. All right, let's go around look here. Of course, where's the biggest earthquakes? It's usually over here somewhere. Kamchatka Peninsul's got a couple of them there. Let's try and grab that outer one. 5.3. Got the other one here. 5.0. Whoa. Zoomed out instead of down. That's a big one right there. 6.5. Vanuatu, however you say that. That's a big one. 6.5. Over here in that's close to Krakatoa right there. Check that out, guys. That's close to Krakatoa. Java, 5.3. Wow. All right, guys. The earth's quaking and shaking. I've seen it worse. Europe and Africa looks quiet. Middle Atlantic Ridge looks quiet. Quiet tonight. Well, how long that'll hold? Let's look at the weather. Actually, it's kind of cool here right now. It's cooling off. We got down in the 60s last night. It's supposed to get down to about 62 here tonight, so maybe 61. It's boiling. Let's see here. Lost wages, 91. Lost angels, 73. Phoenix, of course, Phoenix is cooking. It always is. 102. Got a big heat all in there. Cats and astronauts. Yes, Lee. I love cats, but I carry for a reason. If you have a mountain lion with no fear coming at you, yes, that's absolutely true. Yeah. I walked up on one when I was a young lad. I'll talk about that. I mentioned it in a previous video. I'll talk about it. I'm gonna do a special video on that. Yeah, I'm lucky to be here. I'm just lucky to be here, guys. So let's start up here. New Days is in a hospital in Boston right now, recovering from a major surgery. She's doing well. Houghton is 62. Lebanon over here is 66. Boston, where she's at, is the same, is up near where she's from, 62. Scranton, 62. They got 60s all throughout Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania. In the middle is what's his name used to refer to it? Ohio, 60s. Indiana, 60s. Illinois, 60s. Bowling Green, Kentucky, 64. Virginia, 60s. Richmond's a little warmer, 73. Raleigh is 75. Nashville is 68. And Knoxville is 66. Hunts Patch, 64. Wow, we're almost as cool as Maine. Here in Hunts Patch, Alabama, 64. Greenville, 70. Nolens, 80. Little Rock, 70. Springfield, 64. Somebody said, Brandy said we didn't come up here enough. Iowa's got 70s. It's warmer up north here. St. Cloud, Minnesota, 70. It's cooler here than all of this. St. Paul, 68 though. Park Rapids, 64. Same temperature as Hunts Patch. Let's go here to Dakotas. Minot. This is one of our key Air Force centers. We got the B-52 bombers there. We got missiles here. 62. Jamestown, 64. All right, guys, let's go down south a little bit more here. South Dakota, 60s and 70s. Nebraska, 70s. Kansas, 70s. Oklahoma, this is where our good friend in the house, Jason's at, 71. It's warmer there than here. 77, Oklahoma City. Texas. Dallas is 80. Lubbock's 86. Austin's 86. Planet Houston is 82. Corpus Christi's 86. So now some rain showing up. Okay, that's good. Let's take a little. Oh, you got some storms up here around Amarillo. That's like, wow, a lot of circulation there. That's probably a real strong storm. Look here, it's purple in the center. Anybody here near that storm? Badlands. Hey, Sabrina. Christy Easley, there you go. Well, we're trying to do facts here. Taos, New Mexico, 5. We got a whole community of earthships there in Taos. That's where the idea was first developed at. My universal habitat's a step beyond that. So put all your food in it. All right, here in Arizona, Sholo's 82. Of course, Phoenix is 104. Flagstaff, surprisingly warm for Flagstaff, is 79. It's rare that Flagstaff's warmer than here. Snowflake is 84. It'll cool down. Yeah, it'll cool down soon. Yuma Proving Grounds is 100. That's where Army does a lot of testing that. Lost Wages, 75. We didn't go up to Utah, did we? We got Granny in the house. There's Provo, 82. We got some 70s and 80s in southern Utah. Salt Lake City's 86. Ogden, I spent many nights in Ogden, 86. Howell, 84. Battle Mountain, what kind of battle they had up there? 79. Battle Mountain, 70. All right, what was his name? I had that radio show in for Rump. That's 86. 89. Art Bell started it. He took it over from Art Bell. Help me out, guys. know his name. It's not come to Barstow out here in the desert. Mojave is 88. Baker's 89. That's Mojave Desert area there. Well, let's go up to Chewy Weather's neighborhood. San Fran is 62. Eureka, 64. Happy Camp. Well, that's a place to go. Happy Camp. How could you beat going to Happy Camp? I remember going to Mount Shasta, or seeing Mount Shasta from a bit of a distance, and reading a placard that says, this mountain blows up every 200 years and wipes out everything for hundreds of miles. I'm looking at all the farmers around, go, why did y'all want to move here? Why did you want your families here, like settled here forever? And I thought, that was not impressive. That would have been a good idea. Eugene, 73. Now there's a heck of a name for a place. Drain. Chewy, well, you got a town named Drain. That's funny. Darn, they cracked the 5G on the, it won't penetrate deep. All right, so Drain, Oregon. Myrtle Point, 70. We got 80 up here in Pineville. Yeah, up here it's been pretty darn warm up here in Oregon, according to Chewy Weather. There's a place called John Day, another place called Spray, and they put spray over to the drain, clean things out. You use this pine sauce, more pine, yeah, spray, lapine, and drain. And the drain pipe might have a bend in it. Have fun with names sometimes. I used to get get the phone book and just go through it for names. I'd die laughing. There's always used to be funny names in the phone book. All right, Seattle, 75. Olympia, 79. We have to go up to Arnold's territory. Vancouver, 71. It's cooler here than Vancouver. Kamloops. That's a heck of a name. Kamloops, okay. 77. Blue River, 68. I'll tell you, the Copper River in Alaska looks like it's got copper in it. Coast to Coast, AM, that's it. That's what I was trying to say. George Norrie, that's who I was. Yes, thank you, Jason. That's what I was trying to think of. George Norrie, after Art Bell and Coast to Coast. Red Deer, 68. Calgary, 68. Man, it's cooler here than Alberta. Alberta is warmer than Hunts Patch. There we go, 70s here. Wow. I got Camrose, that's a little cooler than I am. Shoot, though, most of Viking. Hey, now there's my town, same temperature as Hunts Patch. Viking. There you go. Should visit Viking if I get back up into Alberta. Edmonton, 64. Edmonton, excuse me, 64. Flatbush. Grossmont. Back up a little bit here. High Prairie. Peace River. Man, and Slave Lake. Yes, all 70. High level 73, way up here. It's warmer way up there than I am. Fort Nelson, 66. Nelson Forks. A lot Nelson. Hay River, 68. I bet they don't grow any hay on Hay River. You reckon they do? Hey, Arnold, they grow any hay up here on Hay River? So we're now up here in what we used to call the Northwest Territories. They split it, and that's got two different names. And here's the Yukon Territory. I've been through the Yukon. Dawson City, 53. Mayo. Everybody needs a little mayo, 57. I take that mayo down to Drain, Oregon. Delta Junction, 55. Okay, we found some cooler temperatures. Fairbanks, 57. We got a little snow right there. Wasilla, 50. I know we got some people from Alaska in here tonight. Wasilla, 57. Anchorage, 55. Homer, 55. Seward, 52. Valdez, 53. Who's an Alaska in the house? I know we got 2 or 3 Alaskans in here at least. Kodiak Island, 55. Nice and cool down there. Nice cool summer night. Tanana, 55. Ruby, 53. Nome is 52. Kotzebue. 40. Oh, I think this thing skipped ahead. Oh, you know what? It did. It skipped ahead. This might be off. My scroller down there, I must have hit it accidentally. Hope I didn't get the temperatures too far off. Barrow, 46. But Wainwright's 44. But the wind's coming out of the south. Point Hope. You always need hope. Yeah, let's back off a little bit here. There's Big and Little Diomede. That's where Russia and America are right across the river, right across the strait from each other. Little Diomede and Big Diomede. Little Diomede is 46. That's the United States and that's Russia. That's the closest the United States and Russia come to each other. The Eskimos used to go back and forth, even into Siberia. The Eskimos always hated the Russians back in the day. Big time. Because they didn't treat them well. I'll tell you a story about that, but it might get demonetized if I tell it the way it happened. Yeah, buddy. Gotta be careful what you say on this platform. All right, right there is Russia's main naval base, Vladivostok. That storm is moving north. Look here, eastern Beijing is still getting hammered by rain. They flooded. Their wheat crop is messed up. They produce not wheat, but rice. Right in this area, they grow 28% or something like that. The country's rice, maybe it's 20, and that rice crop's been destroyed. So not only is India not shipping rice, but China's going to have a lot less. Yeah, China's #1 rice producer in the world, but they don't produce it for export. They eat it because they got so many people. It takes them a lot more inputs to grow a crop than it does just about anywhere else in the world, because they have to import so much stuff. But they do grow more rice than anybody in the world, but their rice production is suffering. India's not shipping. So guess what? China is going to go on open market and buy rice and wheat and corn like crazy. And they may deplete even our local markets. So we sell to anybody. We don't have embargoes, self-imposed like India does. So we may have some big shortages just because of that. Okay, it's wintertime down under. Let's have a look, see. Texas Gulf Coast is 82. Hey, Denise. Scroll in with the town names pop up. Sydney, 64. Canberra, the capital, is 53. Melbourne, 53. Hey, Sydney is warmer than Huntsville, about the same temperature as Huntsville. This is all Fahrenheit, though. You guys then are measuring centigrade, just like Arnold does. 50 degrees in Hobart and Lancetown. Let's go check. Well, let's check New Zealand first. Christchurch, 43. Wanaka, however you say that, Wanaka, 39. That's kind of cool. But it's wintertime. But you know, the oceans do moderate the temperatures around the island country like that. That's a huge place, New Zealand is. Huge place, beautiful mountains. You can see the mountains of New Zealand in the Lord of the Rings movie. Perth is 62. But you get up here in northern Australia and it warms up. Weepaw, 86. That's usually one of the hottest areas in Australia. That or the desert down around Alice Springs. Alice Springs is 84. This is a balloon launch center. They got tracking centers to track satellites and stuff there. It's kind of like the little aerospace center in one of them in Australia. It's a testing ground. Oops, time I click this, it puts that flag in there. Larry Smith. I'm a believer in the Second Amendment right. However, I studied the arguments of the founding fathers and made the Second Amendment. It's fascinating to read pros and cons, debate it. Big time for Second Amendment, for all freedoms. All right, we got back here. We got a storm coming into United Kingdom. 64 in Bilbao. How do you say that? Wait a minute, that's off. That is off. What happened here? The cities aren't where they're supposed to be. Let me hit update. There we go. I saw Lisbon way up here. Not at any rate. I skewed the world faster than the soft world could keep up. Now London 62, Hull's 59. That's a pretty cool summer. Inverness is 53. Copenhagen 61. Oslo 59. Oh, we got a bunch of 50s this summer up through Norway. It's like everything in Norway's in the 50s. Sweden got a little 60s there, Stockholm. Finland in the 60s. Volodymyr Zelensky's at 73, and Vladimir Putin is at 71. And Lukashenko 73. Paris is 64. It's warmer in Russia than it is over here in Western Europe. That storm's going to make it interesting. And these islands here are pretty cool. Where's that global boiling at? Well, global boiling I can seem to find anywhere in Phoenix, but Phoenix is always boiling. All righty, guys, we ran around the world. Did I miss anybody? It's in the chat. I'm in favor of everyone being armed, even the bad ones. There you go. Well, if everybody's armed, everybody's going to be a lot more honest in the end. All right, let's go to space weather. Let's look at the sun. Sun's not done. The sunspots are popping out, and once again. And when you got big ones right across from each other, they can get some of those magnetic fluxes building up for them, build a solar flare, and launch a CME. Space weather is quiet with a chance of flares. Yeah, that's a big sunspot right there on a limb. That's the size of the Earth compared to these sunspots, guys. I mean, that thing right there would swallow our planet. Comet Nishimaru or something like that. Now look at this, guys. Oh, that ain't what I wanted to see. Where'd that comet go? What's this? That looks like it's blue. You don't get blue comets, you get green comets. Where you get a blue comet? Is that the blue Kachina? Is the blue Kachina finally come to Hopi prophecy? Yikes, guys. That looks blue. Comets are usually green or white. Blue one, that's odd. The blue Kachina has come, guys. We are in the days. The aurora is pretty active. The aurora is pretty active. Let's check out asteroids. All right, there's nothing on this chart that's coming between the sun and the moon. That one's 1.4 the distance, so it's a little bit past, but the thing's only 6 meters in diameter, and it's going to pass outside the orbit of the moon. I'm not worried about it. As you can see, cosmic rays have dipped since the sun got active again. So there we are, my friends. Space weather. All right, that's enough stuff to share. We can talk. We can chat. Hello. All righty, guys. Pigs in Space. Name that show. Well, what was it? The History of the World that Mel Brooks did, right? That was kind of funny. He alluded to a History of the World Part 2. Bobanzik Greg, hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Loud and clear in Sydney, Australia. Okay, so you're in Sydney. Very good. Ding, 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 says Michelle. Sabrina, I don't have a fireplace either. I do have a space heater and lots of blankets. You might need them blankets. Oh, yeah, skeeters. We were talking about skeeters. I was over in Jason's chat room a little earlier today. Blue Comet was an old Central RR and Newark passenger train. Yeah, you don't normally see a blue comet. Remember, Cork was about a trash can and space truck. Oh, Lord, Larry. I'll rewatch and take care, Greg. Hey, thank you, Joe. Joe, wait a minute. I'm trying to take action on people here. Let me scroll up and see what I missed in the chat room. Let's see what I missed, what you guys are talking here. Boondock. JFK for president. Let's see. Nolan. Expand out of Ukraine. Start surveying Siberia. Control the future tunnel. Okay. On my finger, they're coming here eventually. Oh. Author G. People need to use logic, not feelings. That's right. Show Maiden. Show Maiden's in the house. Very good. People who aren't prepping or follow this and understand the devastation. Yeah, we want to talk a little bit about prepping. A lot of people ask me questions on my last video. I want to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, we got Naughty Heathen and Shill Maiden. Y'all make quite a pair in here. That's funny, Naughty Heathen. Let's do keep our language clean, though, guys. Let's keep our language clean. We do have a family channel here. Bahama Mama, just ate fettuccine Alfredo. Couldn't sleep because you're hungry. Okay. Well, maybe that calcium will help you go to bed. All right. Nick Stokes, Patrick Bellamy. Today's nukes are not 1945. That's right. Yes, Patrick, much more powerful. Thermonuclear, because we use hydrogen bombs now, not just regular atomic bombs. Japan barely embarrassed Imperial Russia. Yeah. Fazio, Michigan. Oh, breakfast for dinner. Okay. Ukraine won't need to pay back because they'll hand over their valuable resources. That's probably true. Well, some people say that, Ukraine's fighting for us, because, it's that old adage, we'll fight the Russians to the last Ukrainian. Maybe it'll be the last Polish guy next. But Poland gets into it. That's NATO. Yeah. We need to throw enough votes in the system, Patrick, that'll overwhelm them. Number one hero. Yeah, check yourself into a mental ward. Now, who are you talking about, number one hero? Who do you want to check themselves into a mental ward? You talking about me? Explain it. The Tomahawk launcher modules were a nice invention. Yeah, they can be installed on anything short of a motorboat. Yeah, Tomahawks are amazing, amazing devices. Shoot. Action. Do that. Stop it. Stop it. Quit. Just trying to scroll, but it's trying to do stuff. There's been an uptick in purchase of Ukrainian brides. Suppose so. You don't know me, Mom says, my little Kim's sister has had to be hard to survive in the family. Once he dies, would she be as bad as she is now? Well, does a zebra change its stripes? I don't know. She'd probably have to be even harder just to survive, having a bunch of male generals around her. Yeah, I don't think she's going to soften up any. I doubt it. Does anybody have a different opinion on that? That's opinion. Patrick, good doc on World War II called all the factories. That's right. We won with having the factories. Amy Lee R. Anyone else buffering? Hope not. Mudstar, yes, the power of suggestion is a thing. Oh, yeah. Not a heathen. I'll take 4 Ukrainian brides. Loudy, loudy. Loudy heathen's gone. Steve Irwin. First slide, 40 seconds. Let's see. AI Bat Witch. Goal notes are pretty neat. Oh, yeah. One coat to go. I wish I could put that now. Let's see. Mudstar. I live in Sweden. I saw that one. Patrick Bellamy. Via creation of the privately owned federal bank. And you got that in quotation marks. Curtis Dawes, FDR's son-in-law, was quoted in his book, I supported father-in-law. Yeah. I can pronounce his name, I can't spell it. I have that problem. Yeah. Michio Kaku. Yeah, that's his name. Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku. Yeah, sometimes I get brain locked, especially here late. I used to always say when I was younger, I'll be glad when I'm old enough to have an excuse for this. Well, I guess I'm there now. Steve Irwin, your wife's who? What? I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberty. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson. Sloppy Joe. You got that right, Sabrina. Cancer. She built Pedro. Sabrina, I like cats. Sabrina. Yeah, says Boondock. All right. All right. If you're out, if you're one of our watchers watching this in the morning, I do get, I go through the news and then I have a little chat session with my people. I try to get through the news first so you get a concentrated output. But after that, we're kind of an open chat for a little bit. And I got something to talk about, some good advice for everybody. Mr. Easy. Trump invented COVID. Well, he certainly promoted he developed the shot. We used to go drill whenever we could approximate the epicenter, better odds, striking oil. The shallow depth where the brakes are. Well, that's a good point there, Jason. Interesting. It's a cool August, unseasonably cool. Then how can we be boiling? We're supposed to be boiling. Everybody says we're boiling. That's cool here. 77 in Riverside, California. All these politicians are on the same team. You're right, Arnold. That's really the truth. Steve Irwin, drunker I get, less sense out of the comments. I worked. And Happy Camp all summer. The people were nice, but said it was really boring. Well, how happy were they in Happy Camp there? One coat to go. Miss Art, there you go. Yeah, he was something. Bonnie Eicher, live off grid to Snowflake, Arizona, 16 years on 100 acres, miss it. All solar ran computer, TV, refrigerators, freezer, no AC, could not run AC on solar, use bedroom as basement. Hey, Bonnie, you're not in Snowflake anymore? I may be up there in a few days. You're not in Snowflake anymore? Bonnie, where you at, Bonnie Eicher? Talk to me. Are you still in the house? Art Bill will come on around 10:30 to 1 or 2. Yeah, I remember driving across country, turning on the radio. That'd be the only thing playing. It'd be a long night trek somewhere. I used to prefer driving at night. Art did a great focused intention experiment, but neglected to take the rule of unintended consequences into account. The audience focused on a slowing hurricane and it slowed. CNN will melt your brain. All the lamestream news media will do that. Yeah, Christy, I had some issues with them over some of that. I actually did a video on that. We do allow free speech in here, guys. Sweet brother love, I like that. Okay, JoJo. Alaska, so sorry I'm late to the game. Hey, Alaska, so you probably missed the whole news talk. If you missed the news talk, just rewind and you'll catch it. So we got 164 in the house. I would I would say enjoy the snow while you can. There you go, Jason. You know, someone want to ban fireplaces. Chris goes, everybody needs a rifle, a shotgun, a 4x4, and 3 monster dogs. Costs a lot of money to feed 3 dogs. 3 monster dogs. And when I was a kid, we had like 15 beagles. Oh, I think I just skipped a bunch of chat here. It skipped down on me. I don't know, Larry. Raise watermelon and blend it with cream and honey. Wow, Zen. That sounds interesting. I'm gonna have to get some coffee here. I'm getting kind of. I'll take my sleep line down. I take in a cup. This is my youngin cup. These are my grandkids. And they're in Spring, Texas. There we go. If I won't do that, I'll get it over my beard and shirt when I'm sitting here, kind of lean back. Buy canned food. It will last, but it's got a lot of chemicals in it, a lot of BPA in those cans. It will last a long time. I did a video on canned food. I got a video way down in my video somewhere. I talk about what to look for cans to keep them for a long time. They will keep for a long time, but you got to kind of watch them. Ichio Kaku said AI is a glorified tape recorder. He did. That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah, I meant to say that. That's what he said. I got distracted by tripping over his name. A glorified tape recorder. And he's really right, because it's a language model. All it does is integrates all the different things people saying right, and it's got a lot of algorithms and rules. If it's prompted a certain way, to respond according to that. And it's trained to give you what looks like intelligent responses. But it don't know what it's saying. It can't know because it has no consciousness. So it just parrots back. They're more sophisticated means than a typical tape recorder, but yeah, it's still a glorified tape recorder. I agree with that. Love that cup. Very good. All right. I think I just skipped a bunch of comments. I hate that. West Kilwana, British Columbia has a forest fire. Oh, that's up there in Curtis Stone's neck of the woods, also, or where it used to be. And one of our longtime channel followers lives up in that area. I'm not seeing her here a while. I think it's a different Sabrina. Hey, Sabrina G. I think it's a different Sabrina. There was a Sabrina who used to come in here that lived there. On fence, building, hay bale, carrying robot. Yeah, boy, that would be the day. Oregon fires look bad. Russian and Chinese fleet never crossed into American waters. They are free to cruise international waters. Yeah, that was mighty close. And a lot of people concerned. We do need a Navy up there in Alaska. Everyone in the Snowflake and Teller is well prepared. Big preppers. I know that. It's one of the things I like about there. Mormon area. We are not Mormons, but use cannery and with friends and canned potatoes. So are you still in the Snowflake, Bonnie? You in Snowflake or Taylor? I'm heading up that way. Hopefully in a few days. Shadow is pretty much done in every region in Canada except Quebec. Flour and corn is good. Beans, Seminoe, pumpkin, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now you're talking. Cabin in the woods, you're right, Larry, it can burn. Better have your bunker. Some woods a lot more prone to burn than others. I was kind of worried when I bought this house because I got woods right behind me. But, you know, Alabama forest fires aren't so bad. I mean, they happen. They definitely happen. The exceptions for canned goods are the ones that are high in acid content. Tomatoes. Okay, yeah. I love this news. Well, thank you, Sabrina. I try to bring you an unbiased report here. And I try to make it broad and I cover a lot of topics, you know, I try to. That's what we're trying to do here. To date, China is the only nuclear power that has a no shoot first policy. Well, if you believe what the communists tell you, you need to rethink it. Because, Larry, think about this. They signed a treaty that they weren't going to take Hong Kong too, right, for 50 years. What happened with that? They signed the UNCLOS, Law of the Sea Treaty. Do they abide by that? No. So just because they promise something or sign a treaty don't mean they're going to obey it. They lie to us with their statistics. That's what communists do. They lie. That's considered a modus operandi. They think it's moral because it advances their communist objectives. Anything for advancing communism, they consider to be fair game. Well-managed woods are less likely to burn. Amen. They had a little better managed wood. Yeah, you don't trust it. China either. We're good, Larry. Glad to hear that. Gigi, we have a big military jet flying circles around Fairbanks for hours. Wow. There'll be something cooking up there. Pineapples are higher in vitamin C than orange. Yes, somebody said, oh, pine's what killed Yul Gibbons. He actually died of malnutrition. He died of malnutrition. So, guys, here's the thing. I tell you to eating the weeds in the trees. I've done videos on eating the weeds in the trees. I even showed you eating pine. I ate the cambium, the inner bark of a pine, on a video just for you guys. I showed you how to cut it out, how to eat it. I eat it raw. You can cook it. You can fry it. And it's actually pretty good. You can get minerals that you need. You can get a lot of minerals and a lot of vitamins out of wild edibles, but they tend to be short in protein and in carbohydrates. And so he was missing something, but we don't know if he really ate that much wild edibles or what. Then again, it could have been a starvation diet. He could have been trying to lose weight. I don't know what really got him, but they say he died of malnutrition. That's what's rumored. Not sure if it's still active and in the air. Okay, Alaskan Soul, thanks for the report on that. One coat to go. They sent a bunch of trucks north today. Unopened can of tomatoes will generally stay fresh. Now, one thing about acidic food, Keith in Arizona are Juniper edible. Yeah, but you can't eat too many of them. They'll make you sick if you eat too many. You need a limited amount, limited quantity, just a limited quantity. Eat too many, it'll make you sick. Of course, you can make gin out of them, right? I don't know about the inner bark of juniper. I might try some here in a week or two. Tons of them. Yeah, I got them on my place in Arizona too. There's juniper there. That's the biggest thing that grows around snowflakes. Juniper. Lots of juniper. Eat melons. Don't miss your vitamins. Okay. Grow some sweet taters. Grow some butternut squash, guys. Matter of fact, got a sheet around here somewhere. Pull it out for the next video. I have to go digging. I can go digging for all that stuff right now. I had it out the other night though. I got a sheet around here somewhere. Talks about what you can plant right now. Kind of went through that the other night. Of course, you can plant anything in the greens, winter greens, not radishes. In fact, them just about any time, as long as you're 28 days shy of frost. Spruce, pine, spruce, and hemlocks are all edible. Yeah, hemlock trees, not the hemlock herb. That is deadly. You got two kind of hemlock. You got the tree, and then you got the thing that looks like wild carrot. I've done a video for how to tell them apart, though. How to tell apart hemlock and wild carrot. Hey, Keith in Arizona. Salute. Thank you, sir. That was off FDA website about canned tomatoes. Yeah, the problem with acidic stuff, though, is that acidic stuff can cause a can to rust. You know, a lot of times you'll find the fruit cans are the ones that will rust through. Once you get the container compromised where air can get in it, it's no good. It's no good. I know that they will do that. Daikon radishes and sugar beets, that's a good idea. Because I've had a lot of those cans, and the ones that would fail would always be the stuff that had fruit in it because it was so acidic. Now, tomatoes may not be as acidic as a lot of other fruit, but it could over time cause a can to fail if it's very liquefied. Now, the solid stuff like tomato paste or the concentrated tomato soup probably lasts a long time. It's said that cooked tomatoes, which is what you get in tomato paste or any canned tomatoes probably, has an enzyme that fights the formation of blood vessels to tumors. Now, lycopene is in all tomatoes, and it's said to be anti-carcinogen. Said to be, reportedly. You know, I got to put all kind of disclaimers talking about this, or the thought police that come lock me up. The thought police from the FDA. But you know, so you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. If you need medical advice, go see a doctor. All the disclaimers language here. Banana peppers and cherry tomatoes been my go-to. Like, oh, I love, yeah, banana peppers are great. And when I grow tomatoes and cherries are my favorite because I don't have to slice them up. I can just toss them in the salad and eat them. Only time I want to slice them tomatoes if I want to make a tomato sandwich. I don't want a great big one. So either like the cherry tomatoes or the big ones. Now you want to grow heirlooms. So a good big heirloom is that Cherokee purple tomato. Thin like normal, but only harvest one half, save seed. Yeah, save at least half your seed. You need to grow enough where you can keep saving half your seed, or maybe more than half. Because if you lose your seed, you have a bad year or something, then if you only had half and you replanted all, then you're out. So try to grow a lot. But what I want to emphasize to you guys, and Jason touched on this a little bit in his, y'all need to check out Jason Avers' channel. He's a really smart guy, brilliant. And he puts out brilliant, good advice, and only a few people are watching him. So subscribe to Jason's channel and watch his videos, guys. He's got all kind of good information. It's just chock full of very valuable information about gardening and how to grow a garden, homestead without a lot of external inputs, guys. So he is really good with that. Cherry tomatoes are the best. There you go, Larry. Alaska, so Gigi, do you know about the wild lettuce being? Yeah, I did a video on that. Holy guac smoke them holy. I showed 3 different types of wild lettuce, and I talked about like maybe 8 different ways to use them. Some other channel showed what he claimed was 2 varieties. He miscategorized it. No, he showed 1 variety. He gave the wrong name to it, and he got like 1 million views. He misnamed it, talked about like 1 use of it, got 1 million views. And I showed 3 different varieties and talked a whole bunch of different uses, and you know, my views were like 1,000, 2,000. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. You get 1 million views, I don't get that. See, my own followers don't even know I got that video on there. Go check my wild edible videos, guys. Go check them out. I get the right people watching, though. Yeah, you do have good watchers. You get a lot of good people watching. So, guys, one of these days, this might be worthless, but whatever is your monetary unit or your whatever you're going to trade with or use for barter, and barter is as valid as anything else if the other person will take it, you know. And one day they may not take that piece of paper, but they might take gold. That's why I like the gold bags. But whatever you're bartering, it be one of these or one of these or whatever else you're bartering with, just remember this. Every time you spend something, you're voting for what you get. If you're spending money on what those big corporations do, the ones that want to drive us away from our freedoms, then you're supporting their drive to take your freedoms. And you're supporting the junk they put in your food. The healthiest food you're going to get, and I do believe in meat's been a very vital part of our diet. It's turned out now we're finding all the claims about beef are a bunch of bogus, you know what, and a lot of bull Sierra, if you know what I mean. Beef is one of the healthiest foods you can eat, apparently, according to many claims. And there's some people who are eating nothing but beef, and they're doing quite well, seemingly. Again, I'm not offering medical advice. Don't take me wrong, but beef is really good and good for you. But if you want beef that's not full of hormones, all kind of other junk, go find a local farmer. Cut a deal with them. Buy from them. Buy at the farmer's market. Jason was even talking about in this previous video about this animal share deal where basically you go in and you buy livestock or a portion of livestock while it's still alive. It's your cow and the farmer's feeding it for you. And then he can butcher. You may have to participate in that at some level, according to whatever state you're in, and check it out. That paper buck dollar will be good for TP. Yeah, kind of rough though. I'd rather use a hydrangea bush. That wild oak leaf hydrangea. That's the best I've ever found. A lot of people like mullein, but mullein's such a valuable herb. I hate to waste it on TP. Of course, you can compost it. Compost, guys. Compost. But to compost and human manure, you want to put it into some plant bed that maybe is used for like fertilizing flowers for the bees instead of eating it yourself. So that way you need to plant flowers for bees, pollinators. That will help your garden. Have a mixed biology in your garden. Don't just plant one thing, you know. Monocrops are really subject to being attacked by bugs and insects more than anything. So you want to have a diverse crop. Silver dollar, silver certificates, virtually unknown. Yeah, that presidential decree. And who reversed it while he was still on the airplane after he swore in? LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson. So it took him no time to reverse that. If you hear the ocean, just boil salt water and collect the salt from the burnout water. All right, guys. Yeah, one of my ancestors went into Kentucky where they had some salt springs. They bought these big, long, flat pots, throw fire in it, put that water in there to evaporate the water out. Samuel Turner, well, buy yourself some hamburgers today on me. Salute. That's a great plan. Guys, you know, these people are against beef. They come up with every excuse in the world to get rid of beef. They'll tell you they use too much water. I guess the law of conservation of matter is mysteriously suspended inside of a cow. Excuse me? When a cow drinks water, what does it do? It either sweats it or breathes it back out into moisture in the air, which will later form rain and fall again somewhere, or it urinates. Well, when it urinates, it's added nutrients to it because now you've got the nitrogen from the ammonia, so you got ammonia in it, and nitrosomonas bacteria will turn that into nitrite, and Nitrobacter's bacteria will turn that into nitrate. Suddenly you got minerals and nitrate in the soil, which plants need to grow. I mean, if you find areas where wild herds are moving around, they're not destroying the savanna. They're adding to it. That's why the savanna grows. When you take the wild animals off, they go barren. They turn to desert. So animals add to it. And this whole thing about all the methane from cattle, if that were true, we should give Wild Bill Cody the Environmentalist of the Millennium Award posthumously for wiping out all those infernal buffalo. He must have saved the entire universe from an early global boiling. Yes, we should. In fact, we should. I've been talking about this for some time. I did mention in Jason's chat room, we need to start the Glacial Interlude Preservation Society. Yeah, and we'll have a big banquet, and we can give an award posthumously to Wild Bill Cody. Glacial Interlude Preservation Society. We'll call it GIPS. If you're a member, you'll be a GIPper. Anyway, yeah, thank you. Yeah, your dogs prey on trees and mark their territory. Well, the tree probably says thank you, Poochie. Yeah, we'll buy myself some hamburgers. Thank you, Samuel. Yes, sir. That's a great idea. See, every time a critter pees on a tree, that tree says, thank you, thank you. Actually, the best place to, with a tree, to apply that would be, or any kind of fertilizer you can give a tree, is around where the limbs come down, where the edge of the limbs, that's where you get most of your smaller, finer roots that are soaking up nutrients and things. That's a good thing. Keith in Arizona, free range cows ate my native sunflowers. Uh-oh. Yeah, there'll be some free range cows around. Well, I think there's a fence on that property though. So Bonnie says a premium on junk silver down. Just yes, time to get it. Good time to get you some. Patrick Bellamy, 4 billion in United States notes were bought into circulation to 5 denominations. Never circulated. Oh, yeah, they're going to try to take money out of circulation, cash money. They don't want to spend it that way because they can't track everything we do. They want to track every little thing we do. A lot of us will work outside that system. Keith in Arizona, thank you, sir. Keith and Samuel Turner. That's why we're coming here to visit with you, Greg. There you go, Arnold. Appreciate it, guys. On an aquatic environment, lakes, it takes a little less than 3 days for urea to convert to nitrates. Yeah, because those bacteria are real strong in water. We hold duck water until it starts to turn green, then it becomes fertilizer. It takes about 4 tubs in rotation. Well, I'll tell you, Jason's brilliant, guys. Seriously, his channel is just chock full of knowledge. He is one smart guy. When a rocket scientist tells you somebody's smart, take it to the bank. Alrighty, folks. Kind of late here. It's almost 3 a.m. I got to get up early. New Days is doing a lot better. She's recovering well. So let's do a quick prayer session now. Let's say a prayer for, actually, the very first person we prayed for on this channel is Judy Dowell. And she's got some blood ailment, some other little issues she needs prayer for. We need to pray for New Day's continued recovery, that she gets out of the hospital soon. We need to pray for our friend Randy Bly, the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm, and his wife Susan. They need this Rocket Santa blue bottle here. And we need to pray for Granny Lana. I don't see her in here. Her granddaughter Kaylee. That's Dooley. How you doing? We only got 162 thumbs up, guys. Throw me some more, because I know we had over 200 in the room at one point. We need to pray for, if y'all got a prayer request, throw it in here. We need to pray for the world. We need to pray for peace. All these crazy things don't pan out. I warn you about these things. Oh, we got one thing to talk about. We're not done after we do the prayer. I got something else to talk about. We need to talk about prepping in a big fire. I'll probably have to talk to that again because we're talking about so late, not many people watch us this far into the video. If you're watching this thing in the video this far, put 8/17/23 in the comments. That's the date right now. Just put that in the comment and I'll know you watched this far. All right, guys. So I'm talking about the folks that watching it after I post it. So New Days, yeah, she is she's recovering. She's doing pretty well. In fact, she wants to go home sooner, but she's got these tubes in her. She can't exactly go home when she's got tubes running into her. So she wants out of the hospital. Anyway, guys. So let's do a quick prayer, and I'm going to talk about something else. There you go. Yeah, well, I know y'all are with me now. I want the people that are watching after I post the video to post that. Let's say a quick prayer for, why do we do this? This is not a religious channel. We just, and I don't tell people how to pray. Pray according to whatever your faith is. I'm not telling anybody what faith they have or nothing. I just believe in a prior prayer. And if you don't believe in that, a moment of silence is golden. We'll just be for a moment here, guys. Let's say a quick prayer. Yeah. Oh yeah, don't forget before you go to bed tonight, pray for the people in Maui. And that video posted this morning, there's a link in there to help the people from Maui. I had a link, but Jason had a better link. He sent it to me, and I put it in that video. Yeah, Jason Neighbors. I told you he's a bright guy. So use his video. Please use my link. Samuel Turner again. Oh wow! Throw caution to the wind and top off your hamburgers with a dessert. Salute. Thank you there, Samuel Turner. Wow, you're awesome, man. Appreciate you. Really do. Yeah, Sam's the man. Absolutely. Sam's the man. Yeah, he's our big supporter here at Green Greg's. Big supporter. So thank you very much, guys. So I've had a lot of people ask me, and probably didn't watch this late, so maybe I need to come out and address it earlier in another video. Not many people will watch a video 101 minutes into it. That's where we're at right now. But here's the story. If you're like, fire visits a lot of places. Look at what's happened in California, Oregon, what's happened in Washington State, and many other places, in Hawaii now, Maui, up in Canada, all over. Even Alaska gets big fires. What should you do? I mean, how do you prep for that? People say, what gets you prepped so they all burn up? Well, if they all burn up, they're not much value to you, but there's ways to preserve your preps. And a lot of preps are what people did way back were prepping. They didn't call it prepping back then. It was just survival. It's how you prepared and stored your food. A lot of foods were stored in a root cellar. And being underground, that root cellar is going to be a lot more resilient to not being burned up, because you got a lot of thermal mass with all that ground that's going to stabilize it. So fill your root cellar, or better yet, if you can, build a bunker and get down in, but you want to hermetically seal it if you might have a big raging fire in your area, if there's enough to burn to cause a fire tornado, because a big raging fire will suck the oxygen out. So if you've got air vents, which you should have in a underground bunker, if you got a fire like that, you better close them. You better close them, at least for a little while. But a bunker buried, deep enough underground should be just fine. If it's deep enough to prevent radiation from getting you, then you should be fine from a fire. And bunkers can be made simply. See my videos. Check out my videos on my channel about nuclear survival. I show pictures of bunkers in there toward the end. I cover a lot of material in those videos. Somebody told me, Greg, if you don't know about radiation, nuclear risk, watch this guy over here. Watch this video. I'm going to look at that video. That guy was telling you military installations were in different states we're in. He was citing bases that were closed as targets that no longer exist, all kind of crazy stuff. But he talked about it with great authority, so everybody assumed he knew what he was talking about. It's like, oh my gosh. Anyway. So I don't know where you're going to find a better video on nuclear survival than the videos I posted. If you find a better video on that, you tell me. I want to hear it. So if we're supposed to use our money as a voting tool, so we refuse to pay taxes, well, in the Bible it says, render to Caesar that which is Caesar's. The government will come get you if you don't pay taxes in some fashion. But one day, if we stay out of their system, it's going to be hard to do. And we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But as I understand it, the so-called mark, when you get in trouble, it's when you swear that oath of allegiance. That there's going to be a mark that you'll get according to the Bible, but you get it after you swear an oath of allegiance to the boogeyman. So be careful storing potatoes. I saw a video of the family died from potato gases that built up in the root cellar. I want to invent a root cellar. But one of the main things I like the idea of storing is sweet potatoes and stuff that Jason talks about. If you grow, and I covered it on my channel, there's some things that will last a long time. Nuts, winter squash, sweet potatoes. Potatoes will too, and some onions. But you can grow onions late, start them early. But if you store them right in a root cellar, they'll last all through the winter. You can have fresh vegetables with the carbs that you're not going to get from the weeds and trees. Now, if you're buying if you're looking for long-term food storage, I got these buckets. What's inside these buckets are these pouches. These pouches has got, this is 4 servings. It's lightweight, it's easy to carry, store, throw in your backpack. Traveler stew is what this one is. That's 4 servings. And this thing is 2 servings. That's a big hard can. The can's the last long thing I got a junk that's been sitting there for a long time. But anyway, you can mix this stuff with us. Now, listen, I got a whole bucket of meat back here too. It's all meats. And some people, oh, it's there's no meat. I got a whole bucket of meat back here. You can get if you go to my page, if you use my link, go to prepwithgreg.com and click the My Patriot Supply logo. You can go in and you can find buckets and cans. Either way, you can get number 10 cans too with meats and freeze-dried vegetables, freeze-dried food, fruit. You can tailor it however you want to. The specials, though, are a special deal. If there is specials on right now, they always run some kind of special. But I don't know how they're keeping the price low right now with rice and everything going up, because there's a lot of rice in some of these. Doesn't have rice. Made with pasta, lentils, onions, celery, chicken flavored broth. Okay, so this one has not got rice in it. So, but a lot of them do. But you do need the carbs, and you can get the carbs to some of this kind of stuff too. This will last a long time, 25 years. But you can mix it with other things, and that's what I do. I recommend that you throw stuff or be able to harvest wild stuff, and that way you're not just going to starve to death like Gil Givens. So Jason says, it seems to me that Jesus was trying to get people to avoid engaging in commerce with Roman coin. Idea that spread would destroy the power of the. Yeah, there you go. Just like the BRICS countries are trying to get people to stop trading in the dollar, right? There you go. So it sounds kind of familiar. Cynthia says, I grew up during the Cuban Missile Crisis and lived with a full equipment bunker and warehouse. Wow, that's good. My parents were from Germany. It was real and undefendable to me. So young, so foolish. You know what? Von Braun, when he came over here to Huntsville, and they set up the Marshall Space Flight Center, he made sure every building had a basement. And even after he left for several years, all the new buildings had basements and a place to go to get away from. And a lot of these buildings, basements, they had tunnels along the road where they connected to each other. They've tore down some of those buildings, and they're not replacing the basements. They're just putting in slabs. They're filling up the basements, putting in slabs. And I hate that. It's like, because I used to love to be able to, if we had a tornado, I could go to the basement in Marshall Space Flight Center and get away from it. But they're trying to get rid of the basements. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Keeping Arizona. What gives you potatoes makes fries. Oh, when life gives you potatoes make fries. I get it. Ever eat a pine tree? Yes, Tom. In fact, I did a video on that. I did. I did it on a video. I talked about eating the pine, the inner bark, and I did it. I didn't talk about it. I did it on the video, demonstrated. It's good. I also talked to you about how you can eat the seeds of the pine cones if you get them. It's called pine nuts. How you can eat you can actually eat the pine pollen. You can eat the needles are very rich in vitamin C, more so than somebody mentioned earlier in the chat. They're more nutritious, more vitamin C, way more than oranges, and they're not glycemic. They're not sugar prone like orange juice. So it's better for you in many regards. Just if you don't put them in a pot and boil them, you make turpentine. What you want to do is get the water hot and then put them in, steep them. That's the best way to do it if you want to make a tea out of it. Life of pine nuts here. Opinion. Yeah, Keith. I bet. I probably have better pine nuts than we do. Pine nuts are not a big thing here. So pine nuts from what tree? Pine tree. Yeah, it's the seed that grows. It's the seed inside the cones. Yeah, that's what's inside the cones that spread it. Let's see. I like the idea of building artificial caves, reinforced concrete shells, the earth. Or there you go. Exactly. Well, that's part of the idea of my universal habitat concept. Part of the living quarters is intended to be like that, with lots of soil on top. Pinyon pines, sweet buttery nuts. There you go. There you go. Yeah, they're good. They're good. All righty, folks. I think we've beat on it enough here. Everybody tell me where you're at. Where you coming in from, then we're going to go. Let her roll. Tell us where you're from. Molly. There's the man I love with my head, kisses and hugs. You make me. Okay, Molly. How you doing, Molly? Pine cones or pine nut? Oh, yeah, pine cones. Pine cones contain the pine nuts. They're down in just inside. The ones in my area are tiny, tiny. Squirrels love them. Squirrels will tear up. Squirrels will actually eat part of the pine cone itself. So I suppose that's edible too. Merritt Island, Florida, Louisiana. Michelle's in Bella Vista, Arkansas. Okay. Point Roberts, West or Washington. Okay. Point Roberts. Let's see. Near Dallas, Texas, Traveler. Virginia Beach, Sam Turner. All right, Sam, good to know that. Albany, New York. I'll have to research pine nuts. Okay. Atlanta. Pine nuts are said to have certain health benefits to help a guy. All right, Hillsboro, West Bokistan. He's seen some earlier videos where I talked about East and West Bokistan. We're all ends here in the middle. If y'all remember when India was first partitioned, all the Hindus went in the middle, and most of them, well, not all of them, the middle became more Hindu, and each side was more Muslim. So that was considered Pakistan, had East and West Pakistan. So I've referred to the United States as having East and West Wokistan in a previous video. I was talking about potential for civil war. And been Indian territory here in Memphis. They're treating us like we're Indians. So like they were unfortunately mistreated in the past. Northeast Oklahoma, formerly known as Osage territory. Osage, yeah. Northeast Missouri. Northeast Arizona, Keith, that's close to my place. Well, I'll be there hopefully in a few days. That's where my daughter's at, Chewy. All right. Squirrels love the pine nuts. They do. Pine nuts are funny. Only the female pine nuts have them. The female pines. So pines only the females have nuts. That is hilarious. She's half woke. There you are. No, forest fires are good for growing trees. Yeah, because some of them pine cones don't open unless they get burnt. That's true. Some forests are fire ecologies. It's that way up in Alaska. I know forest. All right. All righty, guys. I have a pinyon forest in southern Colorado. Yeah, there you go, Zen. So yeah, the pinyon pine makes the best nuts. The ones right here, the nuts are nothing. Not even worth digging out. They're very insubstantial. But there's places where pines grow really nice pine nuts. And they're good for you. Cider spirit. That's the only. It's only for certain conifers. Most will open to high. Yeah. Well, around here they pop open. Pines here just pop open automatically. Remember, of course, I'm in the southeast. You know, we don't. So it's humidity. You can't have a fire ecology here. God said, "Fear not. I'm always with you." All right, guys. And just remember that. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Be prepared. And why do we come here? Just keep your head, eyes wide open and head on a swivel. That's why I bring you this news. And just like I said, there's good people everywhere. Sometimes, though, you got to be able to reach out to them, communicate with them. To be able to do that, you got to understand things the way they do. You put on the rose-colored glasses to see the world as they see it. Then you can talk to them. Before you do that, they won't hear a word you say. It's going to go poof. So you're not talking to them, you're talking over them or around them, or their ears are sealed up, their shields are up. So if you want to talk to them, you got to engage them. I hear that Swiss stone pines are very good. One day, if I have my space, you're going to plant some. Okay. You know it. That's right, Sailor. All righty, guys. High heat. So, folks, just remember this. Like I tell you, same as light dispels dark. And I got my stage lights back there. See how they light my hands up? As light dispels dark, love dispels hate. Go out and shine your love light in the world. Let's make a difference, folks. Anyway, Osage Nation, they ceded the land to create a buffer zone, and then the U.S. marched the eastern woodland tribes into it. Yeah, and that's sad. All right, guys. Y'all, the Woodlands people, that's not where they wanted to be. They didn't want to be out in the prairie. Anyway, guys, well, it's not a prairie there, but I mean, close though. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Samuel Turner, Keith from Arizona, everyone else that gave me a super chat tonight. We had a lot of great super chats on. Michelle, appreciate everybody giving me super chats. Thank you, super chatters. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And to one and all, a good night.